Hello there, channel members, friends, and followers. Welcome to the Q8 Pilot channel, and thank you for being with me this evening. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be taking a look at the ATC in X-Plane 12. Now, we've got a lot of things to cover, and I decided to start the sim. Yeah, it's going to take some time to load. It's saying I just finished the update. And what we're going to be doing today is we are going to be doing a full flight in the Zibo Mod Boeing 737, and we're going to be using the built-in ATC in X-Plane 12. Now, along that, of course, I'm going to give you some thoughts. I'm going to give you some tips. We're going to be using also the ground services available in this version of X-Plane. A lot of very opinionated people have said, many things about the sim, but nonetheless, we're going to cover a few things in the stream. And this is the Zibo mod. And the first thing I do want to show you guys is this is Birmingham, where we're going to be taking off today and heading to Dublin in Ireland. And we are going to be cruising at about 28,000 feet. This is the default Birmingham airport in the United Kingdom, and I will say about the buildings, so the default airports in X-Plane 12, in my view, is better than MSFS. I really like those buildings. I really like the airport clutter. I think it's very well done, and for a default airport, I think it's looking pretty good. And of course, all the ground textures by default, the taxi lines and the runway textures also look very, very good indeed. And guys, this is early access. So when, for example, when Microsoft Flight Simulator came out, there was just about the same talk about being disappointed. And, some folks are just really harsh. And that is something that, for me, it doesn't sit well with me. And I just wanted to say that we, as the flight sim community, ladies and gentlemen, we today have three, not two, but three fine flight simulators, two of which are mainly for civil aviation, and we have one for military combat, which is DCS. And we ought to learn how to enjoy those two simulators. They both have their strong points, their weak points, and their ugly points, without a doubt. But the most important thing is that we are respectful, one, for the developers of these flight simulators, and it is perfectly okay not to prefer one over the other or to prefer one over the other. That is perfectly fine. And everyone is entitled to their own opinion, but please be objective in your comments and be respectful to the developers who have spent limitless number of hours to bring those simulators to us to enjoy and to practice our hobby, or for that matter, maybe somebody who actually trains as a real pilot. And X-Plane 12 is FAA approved. It is in early access. It already has received one update earlier today. And before we begin, I want to thank all of you again. And I'm not going to look too much at chat today because there's quite a bit that I want to cover in this live stream. But I want to welcome DSS Gaming. Next up to us, yep, absolutely. Omari, welcome aboard, my friend. Glad to have you. MPRX Simulation, welcome aboard. Glad to have you with us. M16 Driver, good evening to you, my friend. Welcome aboard. HD Simulation, thank you very much for the info. I appreciate it. We have also with us today 0321, is it Short? Welcome aboard, my friend. Glad to have you with us today in this live stream. We have Jerry Jordan. Ryan, hello, my friend. Jerry, welcome aboard. Glad to have you with us this evening. Chicago Skyhawk, welcome aboard, my friend. I'm very glad that you got the kit box, and I hope that you were enjoying it. Joseph, welcome aboard, my friend. Lucas, welcome. Brian, and we have also with us Radial. Welcome aboard, my friend. Dennis, welcome. And Rand Cooley, welcome aboard, my friend. Glad to have you with us this evening. Ferdinand Froster from Thailand, welcome aboard. Ken, hello, my friend, welcome. And Sergio, welcome aboard. Welcome, Steve1927, welcome aboard, my friend. All right. So, guys, today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using the ground elements, and we are going to be using the ATC. So without further ado, and this is, by the way, this is a beautiful, beautiful airport here, default airport, Birmingham, in the United Kingdom. All right, so first, let's take a look at the Zibo. And by the way, the Zibo is also in early access, so we can expect some issues, perhaps. I don't know if we're gonna, we're gonna face any issues. But the first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna click on Shift G, and that will bring up the ground handling menu in X-Plane 12. We can click on toggle the jetway to attach, and as you can see, the moving jetway is now moving. We'll cover some of the things we didn't cover in the last stream. So I do like the fact that at any airport, when you spawn your aircraft at any airport, you actually have, decent buildings. The custom art here is actually very nice. The airport clutter is very nice. The ground textures are outstanding in my view. We don't need any more add-ons or anything like that for your ground textures. And you have moving jetways. Now, they're not exactly, they don't really attach to the aircraft, but, you get the idea. They are moving jetways, just like, they promised to have. And we do have the jetways. Of course, the pushback truck can be operated, again, by clicking on Shift and G to bring up the ground handling menu. We can actually request ground service, so let's go ahead and request the ground service, and we'll see a couple of catering trucks coming to the aircraft momentarily. Let's go ahead and hop into the cockpit. And we're going to begin with the preparation here of the electronic flight bag. So we're going to go first to the configuration, make sure this is set on kilograms. That's okay. And we can now go to the fuel, and we're going to go to the payload. All right. So I am going to, by the way, Navigraph, and now the FMS data manager of Navigraph now supports X-Plane 12. So you can download the AROC database 2208 and bring the sim to the latest AROC database. It is available. I think at this point, if you use the scanner and the FMS data manager, it will not automatically detect X-Plane 12 installation. You have to manually add it. You can just go to manual add, select it from the drop-down menu, and make sure that when you select the folder, go to X-Plane 12, and then select the custom data folder. And that is the folder where your Navigraph AROC database needs to go. So just make sure that you select that folder and not the root X-Plane 12 folder. All right. In terms of payload, we can bring up Sim Toolkit Pro here. Let me see. Why is it not coming? All right. Here we go. All right. So if we look at our zero fuel there, we can have this always on top so it doesn't go away. Zero fuel is 61, but we can also, the payload is 19.3, so that's 19,300. So we're just going to come here and say 19,300, and we enter that there, and it looks like it's almost a full load. Then we're going to go back to the payload again, and we are going to enter our fuel. All right, so the fuel today, or zero fuel, is 61, and the fuel for the flight is 5.8. So that's 5,800 kilos of fuel, and this is the actual, this is the required. So we're going to go to the fuel, request the
ground flight deck hose is connected and starting refueling.
All right, perfect. So now we're starting the refueling. Let me just put this away real quick. And let's take a look at the outside real quick. As you can see now, here are the fuel truck is in position. And that is, of course, something related to the aircraft. But now you can see the catering truck, Austin's, I guess, vegan food. That's Austin Meyer, it looks like, the the founder of Laminar Research. But I do like the movement of these aircraft. You can see the nice, again, tires there rotating and coming to the aircraft to basically service the aircraft before our departure. All right, So let's hop back into the cockpit, and everything looks good here in terms of our payload and fuel.
Ground flight deck, fuel is all loaded up and you are good to go.
All right, thank you very much for your service. We're gonna come here to the overhead panel, and we're gonna turn on the battery. We're gonna come to the ground services, and we are gonna connect the GPU. And now we can start the ground power. So the aircraft electrical systems are powered up with the ground power now. And we're going to arm the emergency light, turn on the left after fuel pump, and let's cancel the master caution and very quickly perform the test. The oxygen checks okay. Looks the sand still needs some work in this early access version of the aircraft. And we can also perform the tests here to make sure that the APU fire test is performed. Cargo fire test is okay as well. And we're going to come down here and make sure that the tests there are okay. All right, everything checks okay here. Excellent. And we can now go to the overhead, the after overhead panel. And Mach speed test looks like some of the sounds. Yeah, all right. I think the click regions are not very... this one takes about 3-4 minutes to do, so we're just going to leave it. And we're going to test this. It looks like a few things are... Some things look a little dark, I think. All right, so let's go... Ooh. All right, we go to nav. All right, nav mode is set. And then we're going to go to the overhead panel. We're going to go ahead and turn on the yaw damper on. And let's see here. What else do we want to do? Oops. All right, my bad. We are going to come here and we're going to make sure the emergency lights are armed. No smoking signs and fasten seatbelt signs are turned on. Window heat is turned on as well. And let's see here. Pack on auto. And we're going to set this to 28,000 feet, which is our cruise altitude for this flight. A short flight into Dublin. Should be a lot of fun. And we're going to set the position light on steady. All right, perfect. We are done with the overhead panel. Let me just bring up some lights here so we can see things better. All right, not so dark. All right, perfect. We can cancel the master caution, and we're going to begin programming the FMC. Looks like the catering trucks are done, and they're kind of all over the place right now. We're going to set the auto brake to rejected takeoff. We'll worry about the rest of the stuff here once we're done with the FMC. All right, let's go ahead and say, let's go back here, start the leg. All right, and let's head over to the FMC. All right, so we're going to go to the FMC, and we're going to go to position in it. We are currently at Echo Golf, Bravo, Bravo. Echo Golf, Bravo, Bravo. And we're going to select that, go to the next page, select our GPS position, and select the GPS set in the IRS. We're going to go back to the route and select the origin airport. Destination is Echo India Delta Whiskey. And we are Ryanair 669. So where is it? Let me see here. All right, flight summary. All right, operational right. So we are Ryanair. That's right, Ryanair 669. And so Ryanair 669. And we're going to enter that here for the flight number. And we'll take him a minute here to bring up the ATC menu and set things up. Now, I'm going to do this so that I'm going to do it as we're going to bring the flight plan. So you guys, if you are interested in doing this as well, so you can. So the first thing you need to do is hit the enter button. All right. And this will bring up the ATC menu. This is where you're going to set up your flight plan, and you can also interact with ATC. You can also, by the way, by default, there's an option to basically select all the frequencies automatically. So it will select the most suitable frequency, or as given by ATC. Some of the options, well, we can take a look at them later. But these are the controllers. So these are all the radio frequencies available at this current position. As you can see, we have the ATIS as well, and we can tune into ATIS. And here you can say auto-tune recommended frequencies. and auto read back ATC messages. So I recommend that if you're doing this for the first time, that you make sure these two boxes are ticked. All right. From here, we can either request a VFR departure, obviously because we do not have a flight plan right now, or you can do a radio check. Let's go ahead and do a radio check real quick.
Birmingham ground. Ryanair 669er. Radio check.
Ryanair 669, reading you strength.
All right, so they replied back, Tower replied back, Ryanair 669, reading you strength 5. I'm not sure if you were able to hear this because it's kind of, the volume is kind of low, but let's go ahead now and file the flight plan. Now, to file the flight plan, we need the aircraft identification. In this case, it is the Zibo 738. The aircraft manufacturer is Boeing. The aircraft model is 737-800. By the way, you can select whatever aircraft you want from the list here. So there's an extensive list. And this list, by the way, has nothing to do with the type of aircraft that you have installed in X-Plane. So this is just, well, just about all the models that you can think of. The airline, very nice, again, that you have almost all the IATA approved airlines in the world in this list. And then the flight number, which is 669. We are today taking off from Birmingham, which is Echo Golf Bravo Bravo, and we are arriving into Echo India Delta Whiskey, and now we have that here. The en route altitude is 28,000. Let's see here, 28,000. And now for the route, what's very important is that when you go to your flight plan, X-Plane 12 flight plan does not like SIDs and stars. So you're going to skip your SID and you're going to start copying everything after your SID all the way to the last waypoint or airway right before your star. So this is the star. We're going to copy this information. Let me just say Control C to copy this. Then we're going to come here and we're going to just paste it. And if everything goes okay, when you save file the flight plan, it should take it without errors. As you can see now, just one more time, the aircraft identification, which is the Zibo 738. You have to select the manufacturer, the aircraft model, excuse me, and the airline and the flight number, departure and arrival ICO code. Enter your cruise altitude here, and then paste the flight plan without your SIDs and stars or the runway numbers. So that's what you need to do. Then we're going to say File Flight Plan. As you can see now from the menu, we have the options have now changed from request VFR departure to request clearance and request altimeter. Right, so let's go ahead and request the clearance.
Birmingham delivery. Ryanair 669er. Request IFR clearance to Dublin.
Ryanair 669er. Clear to Dublin. Routing as filed. Maintain flight level 280. Squawk 2203.
Cleared IFR to Dublin. Routing as filed. Maintain flight level 280. Squawk 2203. Ryanair 669er.
All right, so as you can see, I'm not sure if you were able to hear the tower because of I think the volume is a bit too low. I've heard it, of course, but I know that I have my volume higher than the sim volume so that you guys can hear me clearly. And as you can see now, so far, so good. You know, we've done the radio check. They came back with, you know, they rate us 5, which is, you know, the highest quality, whatever. And we have been properly cleared to our final cruise altitude of 28,000 feet and with squawk 2203. And as you can see, we've read back also the instructions from, you know, from tower. Now, normally they should say after you request clearance and the tower clears you, when you read back whatever the tower said, you should expect the tower to say that the readback is correct and contact ground or so and so, or contact ground when you're ready to taxi or ready for pushback, something to that effect. That is not there, but that's okay so far. And you can see now the frequency has already been selected. So let's go ahead now and set up. We're going to remove the ATC window by clicking here, and we're going to leave this one here so that we can put in our flight plan. So we're going to go to the departure, and we are going to be departing today runway 15, as you can see. And we're doing so through the Luxto 15 departure out of Birmingham. And we're going to go to the route. We're going to activate and execute. And then we are going to go to the next page. And from there, we're going to take November 902, November 902. And we are going to exit this airway at, let's see, Octad. Octad. All right, Octad is selected. And then it's Papa 4, airway Papa 4. And we're going to select that one, and then we're going to exit Papa 4 at DCAS. All right, DCAS is in. And then we're going to take Uniform Lima 9er. Uniform Lima 9er. And from Uniform Lima 9er, we're going to exit at Stu. And then it's Mike 17. From Mike 17, it's Vatry, which is the transition into Overstar. Vatry. Transition to Overstar. We're going to execute that. Then we're going to go to the arrival into Dublin. And the arrival is going to be through the Vatry 2 uniform. Vatry 2 uniform. 2 uniform. That's the one there. And we are going to be performing ILS runway 16. Let me see if we have a transition. So again, you can, yeah, as you can see, alt tag transition. Here you can see that's the final one there. So we're going to select alt tag, and we're going to say execute. Perfect. Now we have our flight plan, and all is ready. And now we can go to the init page and put in our performance 62. And we can go back to the flight plan and put in our reserve. And to do this, of course, we are going to count the alternate here, which is 1517 plus the final reserve. So that's 2.5, 2.6, 2.6. The cost index for the flight today is 26. So we're going to enter that here. And the final cruise altitude is 280. Now we can put the cruise wind at 371.28, 371.28, and we're going to put that here. Oops, 371.28. Why is it not liking this? All right, 028, maybe. It can't be 3. All right, I know what's going on here. All right, so we'll say 010. 010 and let's see, 28. That works. There's only 360 degrees, so 359 is the final degree you can. I'm not sure why it's showing average wind. Oh, it's 171. That's why 17. Sorry guys, my eyes need to be checked for sure. So that's something I'm going to do this weekend. All right, so 171.28. And let's see, the ESA, all right, so that's 0. And that we can enter here. So we're going to just put that here. And that gives us all the rest. The transition altitude in the United Kingdom is 6,000 feet. And we're going to select execute. We're going to go to the N1 limit. And we have, ladies and gentlemen, we have Robert, who just subscribed to the Kuwait Pilot channel. Welcome aboard, my friend. Thank you very much for joining the growing family here at the Kuwait Pilot channel. All right, we're going to derate the takeoff, and we're going to go to the takeoff page. We're going to select 5 for departure, and the center of gravity trim is 5. We're going to set our speeds V1 141, V rotate 142, and V2 149. All right, let's put this away now, and we're going to set 149. I think we need some lights here in Let me just turn on the lights because things are kind of looking pretty dark and it's kind of difficult to see. All right, so 149. All right, 149 is done, and we can start the APU. Right, APU is now starting, and we're gonna make sure we put the correct squawk code in there. So if I just say enter, the squawk code is 2203. 2 2 0 and 3. All right, 2203. We're going to set this to TARA in preparation. As you can see, this is the flight path, and we're looking good. Let's go ahead and turn on the flight directors on both sides. So far, so good. And we're just going to wait for the APU to become available here. And then we're going to transfer the electrical systems from ground power to the APU, and we're going to turn on the APU bleed. We don't need the engine bleeds now, so that you don't have the double bleed. Let's go ahead and turn on the hydraulics. And we are now ready to go. So we're going to go ahead and turn on the beacon lights. All right, beacon lights are now, or the anti-collision. And once we push back, we can request the, the clearance for taxi. So let's remove the ATC for now.
Doors for departure, please. Cross-check and all call.
All right. We're going to come down here. We're going to put this on the legs page. We're going to go to FMC and select the climb. And, all right. All right. Thank you very much.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
All right. So we can let's do one thing. Let's request altimeter.
Birmingham ground. Ryanair 669. Request QNH.
Ryanair 669. Birmingham QNH 100.
Birmingham QNH 1005. Ryanair 669.
Right, 1005 is set. I'm not sure what's going on there. Let's set the parking brake. Looks like... Let me just take a look here. Yeah, I felt that the aircraft was starting to move. Okay. All right. So now what we can do is... did we do this already? Yeah, we did. All right. Okay. So, everything's good here. Let me remove this, and we need to set the altimeter to 1005 on this side as well. So 1005 is now set. And we're going to set the altitude to our final cruise altitude, as ATC has cleared us to our final cruise altitude of 28,000 feet. So all is good there. And let's go ahead and pull the pushback truck. Again, we're going to do Shift and G. And as you can see now, we can toggle the jetway, so the jetway can go away. And we're going to push to the left. Now, I'm not sure which one is which. So is this nose to the left, tail to the right? Or is it this one? We want the nose to the right. So I'm going to assume that's what it's going to do. So we're just going to say right. And if we do this, we should actually start seeing the truck moving. As you can see, this is the pushback truck now. And it does some weird things, but eventually it does come to the aircraft. So we're just going to give it, its time. Excuse me. We're going to allow it to do what it wants to do. And why is it moving? Yeah, I'm not sure why the aircraft was moving. And Steve, hello, my friend. Good evening to you. Glad to have you. Purely Pod, welcome aboard, my friend. And we have Badubies. Welcome aboard, my friend. Can you fly VFR? Yes, you can definitely do a VFR. And yeah, you see this guy does some weird things. I really like the ground marking in X-Plane 12. And yeah, excellent. It's really excellent. Matt Johnson, welcome aboard, my friend. Glad to have you with us. And we have Amit Chaudhry, welcome aboard. We have also Martin Farkas, welcome, my friend. You should press. You should have pressed left. Oh, is it? Okay, well that's not an issue. That's okay. As you can see now, finally the pushback truck. Again, it needs some sorting out, but essentially, eventually it does come to the aircraft, and now it's connected to the.
Commencing pushback. Release parking brake.
All right. Parking brake released. And as you can see now, the ground services are available when the aircraft is parked. Now, you can decide how much you want to push back the aircraft, and I'm actually not very sure if it's going to turn, but here's what we're going to do. We're going to turn off the pack, and we're going to go ahead and turn on the engine number 2.
View the responsibilities for emergency exit seating on the back of the safety.
But a beautiful sight there of the...
Are you willing and able to assist with the operation?
Look at that, guys. Look at that wing view.
Yes. No.
If you're on...
All right, let's go ahead and give it some power here. Some fuel, beg your pardon. And there we go. I think that's good enough. I don't think the aircraft's going to turn, so we're going to say stop here. And
Disconnect. Pushback completed.
all right, so the pushback is completed. And looks like we have a good start on the engine number 2. Let's go ahead and start engine number 1. And let's see here. We can put this pack on. Isolation valve goes to close. And engine bleed. All right, here we go. We no longer need the ground handling. So we can leave that. All right. So now we're starting the second engine, and we can go ahead and give it some fuel here. What does it say here? Ah, okay. That's fine. Perfect. Is the flight factor A320 and A350 ready to install on 12? There is an upgrade for the flight factor A320. I believe it's at, if you already have it, so I think it's $20 upgrade to X-Plane 12. I did get it, and maybe after we land into Dublin, I'll show you the aircraft. I was a little bit disappointed because the textures look very funny. But it's again, it's in beta and it's early access, and so things like that are expected. All right, looks like we have a good start on both engines. Sorry, what was that question? Q8, are you going back to XP11? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Does X-Plane 11 have auto gate installed? It does. It's got its own moving jetway, so by default, all the default airports are equipped with moving jetways. Is flight factor A320, A350? So I know the A320 is ready. Please do a hard landing. All right, I'll do that. That's not a problem. Okay, it's ready. Yeah. All right. So we have a good start on both engines. We're going to put the engine mode selectors to continuous, and we're going to turn on the gen, and the packs go to auto. Isolation valve goes to auto. We're going to turn on the engine bleeds. APU bleed can go off, and the EPU can go off as well. We're going to turn on the runway turn off lights and taxi lights, and we are now pretty much ready to go. But before we do so, we need to request taxi from tower. So let's go ahead and do that.
Birmingham ground. Ryanair 669er. Request taxi for departure.
Ryanair 669, runway 33, taxi via Charlie, Delta, Echo, and Sierra. Hold short of runway 33.
Runway 33 taxi via Charlie, Delta, Echo, and Sierra. Hold short of runway 33, Ryanair 669er.
All right, so far, not bad. It's not perfect, but it's not bad. And it looks like it's given us a different runway for departure, which is runway 33. So let's go ahead and see if we can select this active runway. The runway for this SID is not available. So it looks like we're going to need another SID. Takeoff speeds are deleted. That's okay. Yeah, so all right, we'll use that one. That's okay, so we'll execute. So that changes our flight plan. So we're going to go to runway 33 instead. That's what ATC has instructed us to do. So we're going to do exactly that. And then we're going to go back to the N1, the speeds, beg your pardon. And we're going to set the speeds one more. That shouldn't affect the speeds. We're going to make sure the trim is, it's actually set exactly at 5. There we go. All right, very good. Excellent. So far, so good. And everything's ready to go. Let's go ahead and release the parking brake and head over to the runway. All right. So we have the clearance now. We're going to put this ATC window right here for the time being. And let's just give it some power and head over to the runway. Now you can see there is a yellow line. You can see the yellow line is what is referred to in X-Plane 12 as progressive taxi. And there's one more thing we need to do here in the config. So we're going to put this on yaw. All right, so now I can actually control it with my toe brakes. There we go. Excellent. You know what? Let's just remove this for the time being. I mean, guys, look, for a default airport, this actually looks very, very good, I must say. I'm very impressed with the default airports and all the ground work that they've done on the taxiways. By the way, you can see here, this was an add-on previously, but now all of the ground markings are actually done pretty good in X-Plane 12. I really like what they've done with the default airports. So even if you don't want to invest in payware add-ons or payware scenery, it still look, you know, half decent at least, right? You can come in at those airports and you can find some really nice buildings made out of very nice graphics. They're not, you know, they're not a match for what you'd see in real life. They're not your Orbex quality, but in my view, they're better than the default airports in Microsoft Flight Simulator. That's without a doubt. All right, so we're gonna just follow the progressive taxi given by ATC. Here's a look at the wing view here. And does this work?
Good afternoon, folks. From the cockpit, I'd like to welcome you on board. We're ready up front. Everybody's closed up outside. We're just waiting.
All right. Before we forget, let's set our flaps 5 for departure. Can adjust our view there a little bit. The trees, again, is something I really like in X-Plane 12, and the animations of the vegetation is done quite well. Look at that, folks. Look at that just beautiful view here of the 737 wing. Nice wing flex, beautiful sky colors. Let's not get carried away there. All right, we can bring up the ATC window here. Now, once you are at the end, the ATC should actually detect where you are and give you further instructions. All right, there we go. And it looks like we can...
Ryanair 660 contact Birmingham terminal 118.30.
Contact Birmingham Tower 118.305. Ryanair 669.
All right, so as you can see, as we came to the hold short point here for runway 33, tower has told us to contact tower, and we replied back with the frequency Ryanair 669, and now we can check in with the controller. Before we do so, let's go ahead and turn on the landing. Ooh, look at that, we don't have the fuel pumps there on. All right, and we're gonna turn on the strobe lights, and everything else here looks good. Excellent. Flaps 5, rejected takeoff. All right, let's go ahead and check in with the controller.
Birmingham Tower Ryanair 669er. Holding short on runway 33 on Sierra.
Ryanair 669er. Fly heading 320. Wind light and variable. Runway 33. Cleared for takeoff.
Fly heading 320. Runway 33 cleared for takeoff. Ryanair 669er.
All right, folks, here's the clearance for takeoff. Parking brake is released. Let's arm the auto throttle. And we've been instructed to fly a heading of 320. And we've been cleared for takeoff. All right, let me just remove this here real quick for our takeoff. All right, look at those beautiful runway lights. All right, let's take it to about 40%. And toga. I definitely miss XP Realistic. Very nice runway textures. Checked. Definitely some wind there. Rotate. Come on.
London Center 118.48. Ryanair 669.
1000.
Right, 1000. We'll go B now. We're going to go to flaps 1. LNAV. Alright. Cracked our flaps. I'm going to go ahead and engage the autopilot. And let's go ahead and check in with the controller.
London Center, Ryanair 669. Altitude 2,100. Climbing to flight level 280.
Ryanair 669, London Center, QNH 1006, radar contact.
QNH 1006, Ryanair 669.
So far, so good. Alright, that can go off as well. Looks like we're going through some clouds there, folks.
Ryanair 669, turn right heading 120.
Turn right at 120. Ryanair 669.
Now, it looks like we have some discontinuities there. Let's select.
Turn right heading 210.
Turn right at 210. Ryanair 669.
Alright, bear reference standard. Now, ATC has given us an instruction to turn right heading 210. And we are, I think that's the next waypoint there, heading 210. So it must be the one after, must be Docino. So I'm going to go ahead and select Docino. Alright, there we
right
go.
Heading 220. Ryanair 669.
That should be the correct turn now to the heading that Because remember, in X-Plane, there is no SIDS and stars. So it's going to clear us to the very next waypoint that we've entered into the flight plan. And so that's why it's asking us to turn to a heading of 220. But you can see that the ATC instructions are actually, they're not 100%, but they're actually pretty good for built-in ATC. I think you can really enjoy having the ATC experience now in X-Plane. So far, at least. So far, so good. It works. 7,000 feet. Still looking good, and we can turn these the engine mode selectors.
Ryanair 669, turn right heading 220, resume on navigation.
Turn right heading 220. Resume on navigation.
All right,
Ryanair
we've been
669.
excellent. Turn off the lights, and we can leave everything else here the same. Can taxi, those are off. Those can go off as well. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we are resuming on navigation. We need to set the barrow. All right. So now everything is as per design intent, and we've been now cleared, resuming on navigation, and everything is cool. And here we are climbing now through the clouds to our cruise altitude of 28,000 feet. And so far, the ATC has done a reasonable job. It's not perfect, but I think it's pretty good. I think it's pretty good, and I think Laminar Research has lived up to the promise when they said that we're going to have a revamped ATC, and the ATC is definitely revamped, more realistic sounds there, and at least it gives you proper instructions relative to your flight plan. This is a very nice looking scene here. Let's go ahead and switch to external view. So the clouds in the distance is not very good in my view. It still needs work, but overall I love the fact that they are volumetric clouds, and they look very nice on the ground. So when you're on the ground, I think they look fantastic. But once you're up in the air, then you start, especially when you look at, for example, far in the distance there, you get some pixelation, and you get some clouds that are, you see how this is, for example, looks shaved from the top, and that doesn't look very good. But I'm sure that this is probably an issue that Laminar would address in the days to come. And guys, really what I want to say is give Laminar Research some time. They will definitely make changes to the sim, just similar to any other release in early access, and things keep on improving. Wait for all the add-ons, and then we'll talk for real. Still a bit work to go. Yeah, definitely. And on the performance, by the way, as well, it needs some optimization as well. So, by the way, if you are not comfortable with the concept of early access, I don't recommend that you go and purchase X-Plane now. I would suggest that you wait, and if you are enjoying the stream, ladies and gentlemen, why don't you go ahead and hit and smash that like button for me, and be sure to hit the bell notification button as well, so that you are reminded of my upcoming streams. There will be a lot of videos and tutorials coming up here on the channel for X-Plane 12, including the settings guide. And Anthony, how are you, my friend? I'm sure it's been answered previously, but just the ortho from XP11, it works perfectly with X-Plane 12. You just simply copy it and paste it there, and it works like magic. I've tried the Fork Boy scenery. Now, the only caveat when you're using ortho from X-Plane 11 is that the coastlines aren't going to look very good because of the way Laminar has changed the rendering of the coastlines in X-Plane 12. So that's the only thing that may look a little bit off, but orthos just work fine. You just can. By the way, a lot of the scenery just work fine in X-Plane 12, but they're not optimized, so you can run into performance issues and things like that. Niels, I think SB12 performance is pretty good, but I feel like they did put more load on the GPU. Well, they might have done that. I still think that for example, for the machine that I have, I should be able to max everything out and still get 60 frames. That's what I think. And that's to me when performance is optimized, you know, with a machine like mine, I should be able to get 60 FPS. I don't know, by the way, how many FPS I'm getting right now, but we can definitely bring up the counter. See, 36 FPS, 37 FPS, something like that. And that's not very optimal in my view, considering the system specs and what I used to get with X-Plane 11 with all the add-ons installed. So definitely that's not optimized for performance. But if we take a look at the outside, actually it's pretty good. Yeah, very nice wing view there. And right here, look at those engines. Yeah, I think it looks pretty good. I think I need to set my field of view. It isn't correct for sure. Doing your own ortho work well with the coastline now. Oh, really? That I should probably try that. Because I picked up Fork Boys orthos, and they were. Are you on real weather? Yes, sir. I am on real weather. Can you turn on the WX radar? Yeah, we can do that for sure. And by the way, we can come down here and turn on the lights there as well. I think this aircraft uses terrain radar, so you will not see the weather, and I don't have the plugin installed yet, so we're not probably going to see weather in this flight. So far so good. ATC is pretty happy, you know. I don't think that we will get so one thing in X-Plane, I don't think that I don't think we'll be handed off. Maybe I'm wrong, I don't know, but we'll wait and see. So far, request altitude change, we can request vectors, we can request a heading, or we can request altimeter. Alright, so these are at the London Area Control Center. We'll see what happens as we continue our flight towards Dublin. So yeah, the Zibo mod requires terrain radar plugin to be there. XP12 is more GPU bound than XP11, less load on the on my CPU, and still good FPS. That's very good, Niels. Yeah. Well, I have the RTX 3090, so it's a very capable graphic card, and yeah, I pretty much have everything set on max, except maybe for the anti-aliasing, and everything else is set on max. So I think it's performing okay. So the AI traffic is something that you can generate if you like. If you go to the menu, from the menu you can add AI traffic. It has to be one of the aircraft that are in the sim. So you can select, for example, the Cessnas, the Boeings, whatever, and you can add as many AI aircraft as you like. Those will then be controlled by the ATC, the built-in ATC as well. Now, the one thing, the caveat here is those aircrafts are CPU intensive, and the way X-Plane is written is that it creates a thread for every aircraft, so it counts as there is 2 of you or 3 of you, depending on the aircraft that you've set as AI. So if you add a lot of AI traffic, I think more than 10, at least on my machine, more than 10, and then you start seeing some degradation in performance. All right, 1,000 to go for 28,000 feet. We're looking good. All right, let's just take a quick look here and check out the ILS frequency, which is 111.5. All right, so we're going to set that to VOR, so that's ILS. All right, 111, 111.50. And that's the ILS set here. And by the way, you can change the mode here from GLS to ILS to VOR. All right, so we have ILS 111.5, and we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to set 111.5, and we're going to set it to the active frequency. That's the runway frequency there. And then we're going to set the approach course to 159. Right, 159. Now, one of you guys have requested that I do a hard landing. As hard as I can, as a matter of fact. But we'll see about that once we get to our destination. Alright, let me just do one thing. Let me set the view to look like that. And then we're going to bring up X camera and just save this view. Okay. Alright, look at this, guys. The camera is saved. It's come on the chat window here. I hope it doesn't mess things up, but yeah. Alright, perfect. So we continue our flight, and here is a wing view for you guys, and a look at the clouds. Again, the clouds, I love the fact that they've moved on from the cartoonish clouds, the 2D clouds in X-Plane 11 and all the previous versions of X-Plane, and now we have you know, volumetric clouds. But I think it still needs some work, and we just got to give them some time to sort this out. But I love the fact that they moved on in this department. Yeah, Papa Charlie, I think a lot of people will probably share your problem. World Traffic has an update now, and it works well. Perfect. Maybe I'll go ahead and grab it and install it. I have one question about the ATC. Does it detect AI traffic if you have program like Traffic Global? No, it will not. Alright, so the way X-Plane ATC works is that it only manages the traffic that you create, the AI traffic created by X-Plane 12. Now, I could be mistaken. I don't know if they have fixed this or this, but for the life of X-Plane as a flight simulator, the ATC has never been able to actually manage the traffic injected by traffic programs. At least that's been my experience in the previous versions. I'm not sure if they've done this here, but I will probably check this out and let you guys know in the next stream. Alright, let's take a quick look here at our flight. If we look at the top of descent is in 119 nautical miles. And if we go to our flight plan and take a look here, we have one restriction, and we need to be at 3,000 to intercept the ILS. So, yeah. So that's what things look like on the outside. Not bad. Again, some problems there when you look at the clouds far in the distance there. But it doesn't seem like, you know, we've been handed over to another another control center. We are still at the London Area Control Center on this frequency, so we'll just wait and see. If we come here, let's see. Yeah, they're all on the same frequency, so we're fine, I guess. All right. Does ATC have regional accent? No, it does not. I think they have multiple voices, but so far all the accents I've heard are pretty much US-based accents. I'm sure add-ons will come later on to address this. But let's just wait and see. And by the way, folks, I haven't done yet any flights with ATC, so I'm actually doing this with you guys for the very first time, and I will be providing you with my final assessment of the ATC and X-Plane 12 after we land, bearing in mind that this is early access and things may change, but from my experience, ATC is probably not going to be an area where Laminar is going to tap into, and they leave it for, you know, for us to either purchase additional add-ons or, you know, do the flights on online networks such as VATSIM, IBO, or Pilot Edge. So I think whatever we get today and in ATC, I think will probably remain for the lifetime of the sim. So let's just see if it works or not. Same as MSFS, I am sick of the American accent all over the world. You know, it does take maybe from the immersion, because you shouldn't be hearing, for example, American accent when you're departing Kuwait International. But I'll tell you, the American accent is something I like. I think it's very musical, so I don't really mind it. But that's just me. Yeah. All right, Mr. Martini, Microsoft ATC stinks too. Well, without a doubt. Actually, there's some pretty good add-ons for ATC for MSFS. Yes, indeed. And the one that I would recommend myself is, without a doubt, Pro ATC SR. It's an excellent add-on tool for Microsoft Flight Simulator. Just really excellent. Here's a wing view for you guys. And we are looking pretty good. We should be beginning the descent into Dublin shortly. Then I'll give you my final remarks, and maybe I'll show you a few more things. I've downloaded, by the way, the Tolis A340. It's been upgraded to. So they brought in a few X-Plane 12 adaptations to it. I don't think that it is a fully native X-Plane 12 aircraft, and I don't think any of the aircraft that are going to be ported are native X-Plane 12 aircraft. So anything coming there, I think is going to, they will make changes to adapt to the sim rather than build it from the ground up for X-Plane 12, which, you know, makes sense, of course. But there's one V-Skylabs aircrafts that I'm actually going to get in review here on the channel. I haven't played with it yet, but we'll see how that fares up once I get my hands on it and begin testing it. Looks like we have some clouds ahead of us here as we approach Dublin airport, and everything's looking good here. We should begin the top of descent shortly. So we are approximately, let's see here, what does it say? It says 84 nautical miles, so we're not too far now from top of descent. We should begin the descent momentarily into our destination. And let's see here. Murtoya, welcome aboard, my friend. I didn't know that you were with us here. Forrest Johnson, welcome aboard. PF3, I think, is the only one that can handle IFR and VFR on MSFS. I think that's the only thing missing in Pro ATC SR, unless I'm wrong. You are absolutely correct in reference to the VFR capability in PF3. Unfortunately, PF3 sounds are just absolutely terrible, and they're extremely robotic, and yeah, I just don't like them. DSS Gaming, goodbye, my friend. Thanks for staying with us for as long as you did. I wish you well. Stay safe, my friend, and take care. Orbex involvement. It looks like Orbex is very involved in X-Plane 12. I'm actually surprised I haven't seen things on day one, but they are definitely very involved, and they're going to be working on creating, I think, like the mesh for X-Plane 12, something to that effect. Sometimes with the with something else, and always late when you're streaming. Well, sorry about that. How's the ATC traffic and AI? So it works fairly well. So far we haven't had any issues, but I'm still waiting for. Yeah, I'm still waiting for. Maybe we'll request the. If we don't hear back from ATC, we'll request the altitude change. Now this is looking a little bit weird. Those clouds look a little bit weird. But overall, let's take a look at the outside. So the clouds the nearer the clouds to the aircrafts, I think let's go ahead and turn on the. Oh, by the way, we didn't turn on the. Let's turn on the. Looks like let's turn on the anti-icing equipment as we go through those clouds.
Ryanair 669, descend and maintain flight level 050.
Descend and maintain.
Oh,
flight
wow.
level 050. Ryanair 669.
All right. Well, we're going to follow the instructions. It wants to go to flight level 500. So we're going to comply with the ATC there and see what happens. It wants to go to flight level 050. That's 5,000 feet. All right. Let's go ahead and say level change. I don't think that's right.
669, descend and maintain flight level 050.
Descend and maintain. Flight level 050. Ryanair 669.
All right. Well, we're going to comply with ATC instructions. At least we did receive instructions, and we have been instructed to descend to 5,000 feet way before the top of descent, because the top of descent is still in, it was I think 80 nautical miles to all TAC 128 nautical miles, so still we have quite a distance to cover before we arrive into Dublin. But I'm suspecting that we might get a runway change at our destination. So I'm going to comply with whatever ATC tells us and see how it all works in the end. And then, of course, I'm going to give you my my assessment. Looks like it's raining here slightly. I can see a little bit of rain. But this actually looks pretty good. Yeah. Can we update 11 to 12? No, we cannot do that. It's a separate purchase. Hello, Karim Ghanem. Welcome aboard, my friend. Glad to have you with us. Harry, thank you very much for your kind words. Appreciate it. Thanks, Rand, for the info. I didn't know that XP Realistic was compatible with this version of X-Plane. I haven't tested it out, to be honest. Well, X-Plane 12 is going pretty well. I do like it. And I think it's a very promising flight simulator. And I believe that Laminar Research has lived up to everything that they promised the community they would bring into this new flight simulator. And just guys, the only thing is, this is again an early access, so we can expect issues without a doubt. There are definitely problems that we're going to encounter. We just need to give them time. Alright, we're going to set this to 30 flaps and 154, final approach speed. Everything else is set. Perfect. And now we continue our descent. And we're just going to follow the instructions from... I hope that we don't get a runway change at Dublin. Because that would mean a lot of things will have to change, but that's alright. We're going to continue our descent now to 5,000 feet as instructed by ATC. So, Kareem, the ATC, this is the built-in Laminar Research ATC. And so far, it has done a good job keeping us in check. What I've noticed is that you don't get handed over from one tower. I think the number of towers are limited. But yeah, I think they did hand us over to another frequency while we were en route. So X-Plane 12, the previous experience are reported unlike MSFS, which is a more playful fashion than a real simulator, which came out too early compared to the final product. Well, yeah, I mean, look, guys, I will tell you one thing that is very important in the software development business. When you're developing a piece of software, you have a running cost. You have developers, you have, your marketing specialist, you have rent you gotta pay, and all of that really starts hitting you hard when you've got to pay the bills. And if you can't pay the bills, then you have a problem. So basically, sometimes the company decides to take a certain route because cash flow is low, and they need to start generating money in order to sustain the business. Now, I'm not saying that this is the case with Laminar or with the Zibo, but the decision to launch is sometimes purely a business decision. And then, of course, you've got all your developers that have to rally around you and do what you ask them to do. And we've had situations like this at work, so I can definitely relate to this because I work in the information technology industry, and I know that sometimes you have to make those hard decisions. Like, you have the product that is not 100%. But for example, sometimes in my line of work, competitive advantage is very important. So time to market becomes very essential. And sometimes, we make a decision to launch something. We know it's half cooked. We know it's not 100%. And we probably know that we're going to have a few issues here and there. But, launching it and making that call is really the tough part. And once you cross that bridge, then things become easier. You have your developers are less stressed because they've got at least the product out the door. Then you start working on continuous improvements and optimizations and things like that. But yeah, it's not an easy thing to do, and I'm sure that Laminar had a very good reason to launch when they did, and I think it was in a state where they felt it was ready for as a public beta. Again, remember, it's a beta. All right, landing lights, runway turn-off lights, wing lights, and we continue here looking at our flight plan. We're below 10,000 feet.
Turn left, heading 330, right at 6.
Okay, it looks like 330 is the heading to...
Contact Shannon Center 119.075, right at 669.
Alright, check
Shannon Center, right at 669. Altitude flight level 090, descending to flight level 050, on heading 350.
Alright, so I can hear the ATC, but it's kind of very... The audio, the volume is very low for ATC. I'm not sure why. And yeah, so we are at a heading of 344. We're going to continue to descend to flight level 050. And what we can do is we're gonna go direct to, let's see, so that's Rajbar. We're gonna go direct to Otner. Let's do that. Let's go direct. Execute. There we go. Let's do a flyby, shall we? Well, sometimes the clouds don't look very good, you know. Sometimes they look like foam, like shaving foam, but sometimes they look really good. Yeah, alright. So far, guys, I think in terms of the phraseology, I think it's actually pretty good, if you ask me. Alright, let's set our reference to standard here. Alright, let's request the altimeter.
Shannon Center. Ryder 669. Request QNH.
Thousand to
QNH
go.
997.
Right,
Ryder
997.
669.
Alright, 997 is set on both the captain and first officer sides. And by the way, our speed should be below 250 knots. Alright, me correct that. The strange thing is that ATC did not warn us that we were not at the right altitude. So again, you know, a number of glitches probably there. Not a full ATC capability, but what it does is actually pretty good. For built-in ATC, I think it's pretty good so far. And well, let's just wait and see what happens as we approach Dublin. Looks like we are in a descend and maintain flight level 500.
Descend and maintain flight level 050. Ryder 669.
All right, let me check our flight plan here real quick. We need to be at 3,000 to intercept them. All right. We're still looking good. We're actually too low for the current sector of the flight, but that's okay.
Descend and maintain flight level 050. Ryder
Not sure why
669.
is it. By the way, 500 is probably 500 feet. And is it 5? Like, yeah, that's probably not the right altitude. No, this is not right. All right, let me. Looks like it's raining
Descend and
here
maintain flight level 050.
as we approach Dublin.
Ryder 669.
All right, here's what I'll do. I'll probably descend to, let's see here. Let's say 4,500. And let's see if it likes that.
1,000 to go.
Looks like some heavy rain here as we
Descend
approach
and
our
maintain
destination.
flight level 050. Ryder 669. Vectors for the visual runway 10 right. Descend and maintain flight level 050.
All
Ryder
right, so this is what.
669.
Let's see here. Uncertain. Request altitude change. Request vectors. Request diversion. We cannot change the runway. So it's telling us to go to the visual for runway 10, which is right here. Huh. No, I don't think that's the right thing to do here. Let me go ahead and decrease our speed. Alright, let's come down here. Eyeball. Yeah, that's gonna mess things
1,000 to
up.
go.
ILS 10. Which one did you say? 10. Right. All right. Okay, now it wants us to climb.
Climb and maintain flight level 050.
All right,
Ryanair
let's do a level
669.
change here. All right, we'll go to 4,500.
Climb and maintain flight level 050.
All right, so this is, I think, where the
Ryanair
ATC doesn't
669.
really do a very good job because it keeps. We were at 5,000. It said descend. It kept telling us to descend, and when we actually descended, it started giving us some really funny information. Now we have everything set for runway 16, not runway 110. So.
Climb and maintain flight level 050. Ryanair 669. Climb and maintain flight level 050. Ryanair 669.
All right, let's try to go to level
1,000
change.
to go.
Yeah, definitely ATC is not doing what it's supposed to do. But we're going to comply with whatever it's saying.
Descend and maintain flight level 050.
So there's something definitely
Ryanair
off here.
669.
Because now it's really it's really good. It doesn't work very well here because we are definitely at 5,000, and it keeps telling us to descend to 5,000 when we are already at 5,000. So
Turn right heading 360. Descend and maintain flight level 030. Ryanair
all right,
669.
3030. All right, so that's 3,000. That's the final. We can go now to level change. And let me just increase our speed a little bit. There we go. Let's go to V now. Yeah, so ATC is a bit off, I must say. That it doesn't work as it should. It's now heading 360.
Descend and maintain flight level 030.
All right,
Ryanair
so change. Here
669.
we go. Again, it doesn't seem like it respects the restrictions. So we have to be above 6,000 here, but it's asking us to go down to 3,000. So obviously it does not, respect the decisions there. And it wants us to go to 360, and 360 is right about here. It's a bit...
1,000 to go.
Alright, we're going to set our auto brakes. And we'll see how this goes. If I go to the flight plan, and if we go to the step. Alright, so that's 10 right. Okay. We'll see what ATC says. We are now at 3,000. Switch this back to map. We're definitely very low for the current sector, but we're going to start reducing our speed to 210 knots. Final approach speed today is 154. Let's set the engine mode selectors to continuous.
Descend and maintain flight level 030. Ride at 669.
Alright, let's fly direct to ALTAG now. So I'm going to select ALTAG. Actually, let's go to... What did I do? There we go. That's ALTAG.
Descend and maintain flight level 030. Ride at 669.
Let's go to mechanic direct. There we go. Now we've been cleared for the visual at runway 10 right.
Flight level 030. Ride at 669.
I'm going to start reducing our speed to 180 knots. Speed check and flaps 5. Again, the ATC looks like they've got a mind of their own. Although we are at 3,000 feet, they keep asking us to descend. Now they're asking us to turn left heading 190. They want us to climb.
Heading 190.
Turn left heading 190. Vectors for the visual runway 10 right. Climb and maintain 5,000.
Ride at 669.
Now, just imagine if the real pilots were getting these instructions, they would just go nuts, asking them to go to 5,000 1 minute and to go to 3,000 the next minute. I think the pilots would eventually give up.
Descend and maintain flight level 030. Ride at 669.
Alright, so that's the runway ahead of us now. And we're going to start configuring the aircraft. Landing. Alright, and at this point, we are...
Descend and maintain flight level 030.
We're going to disconnect the autopilot. And we're going to hand fly the aircraft. I'm going to go ahead all the way to our approach speed.
2,500.
Altitude, Ryanair 669. QNH 998, Ryanair 669.
Speed check.
Turn left at 120. Vectors for the visual runway 10 right. Climb and maintain 2,500. Ryanair 669.
All right, so 120 from ATC, and I'm just want to focus on.
Climb and maintain 2,500. Ryanair 669.
All right, let's maintain the current altitude. Heading of 120 as per ATC. We'll leave it at 2,000. 150 is the speed that we've been given.
Climb and maintain 2,500. Ryanair 669.
We're looking okay so far. Righty. And that should be the runway there. So let's begin our turn. Zero zero.
Turn left at 100. Descend and maintain 1,000. Report the field in sight. Ryanair 669.
Alright, looks like we have the runway in sight. So the ATC instructions are okay. We do have the runway in sight. Let's see here. Report field in sight.
Ryanair 669. Field in sight.
What a joy to hand fly the Zibo.
Clear visual approach. Runway 10 right. Contact Dublin Tower 118.60. Ryanair 669.
Right, speed check, flaps 30. And we have the runway in sight. Definite crosswind there. And looks like we're going to do some, it's going to be a nice Ryanair light landing, ladies and gentlemen. And I can see the runway there. This is some really strong crosswind there as we come into land. Wow, the wind is, oh God, I love that. Just feels so real. All right, at this point, we are going to disconnect the auto throttle. And it's my aircraft. 1,000 feet. Watch our speed. Strong wind. Hello, Dublin.
400. 300. 200. 100. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Reversers, and welcome to Dublin, ladies and gentlemen. That was pretty cool.
80 knots.
And yeah, we had to hand fly the aircraft for a very long period of time, but it was no complaints there. It was actually a lot of fun to do that, so I really enjoyed it. And we'll see what Takeoff.
Dublin Tower, Ryanair 6.
We did not
inbound to
get the
runway
clearance
10
there.
Right.
That's my bad.
Ryanair 669, clear to land. Runway 10 right, wind 130 degrees. And
That was definitely my bad, folks.
160.
Cleared to land. Runway 10 right. Ryanair 669.
The aircraft doesn't want to move now.
Vacate left. Ryanair 669.
All right, so it was my bad. I needed to check with the controller. So actually, ATC works pretty well, and it does kind of on the altitude. It doesn't seem to read the altitude of the aircraft, or maybe it's an altimeter setting. But it looks like it's giving us now the correct instructions. It's asking us to vacate to the left. So we're going to turn off the landing lights. We'll leave those. Let's turn off the strobe lights, and we can retract the flaps as well. It says vacate left, so that's what we're going to do. So the only thing which was my fault is I did not check with the controllers right before we land, and we're of course going to take a look at the replay of this landing. It was really a wonderful landing. It was a lot of fun to to battle the wind. There's really strong wind from all directions, but it was definitely a lot of fun to do it. All right.
Ryanair 669, gate 409, Charlie via Sierra 1, Bravo 2, and Zulu. Hold short of runway 16.
Taxi to gate 409 Charlie via Sierra 1, Bravo 2, and Zulu. Hold short runway 16, Ryanair 669.
Ryanair 669, cross runway 16.
Cross runway 16.
Very nice.
Ryanair 669.
All right. So basically, ATC has given us the clearance for taxi to the gate, and they told us to hold short of runway 16 to make sure there is no traffic. And once they've cleared visually cleared the runway, they've given us a clearance to continue the taxi to the gate, which is very, very cool. So all in all, all right, Dublin ground.
Contact Dublin ground 121.80. Ryanair 6.
Again, guys, look at Dublin Airport. This is default again. Default to explain. 12, very nice. Airport as a default airport, I think looks very nice. So you don't come in and land and there is nothing there. Some really nice airport clutter, ground vehicles. Everything just really looks pretty good, and it looks like all the instructions.
Dublin ground. Ryanair 6.
Oh, that's the
runway vacated.
Ryanair 669, gate 409, Charlie via Bravo 2, and Zulu.
Taxi to gate 409, Charlie via Bravo 2, and Zulu. Ryanair 669.
All right, so I think we're just going to bring the aircraft to a stop here. I'll give you my final remarks after we do the replay of the landing. It was a really interesting landing, and I can't wait actually to see how well we performed as we came into land. Yeah, the reversers were stuck open. That is correct. Yeah, I have a button mapped to my joystick, a button on my joystick that is mapped to hold a reverse thrust at max, and I need to click it again to basically disable the reversers. And you know, I just get too excited with this landing, I guess. But yeah, I think overall ATC has done its job very, very well, and all the mistakes were my mistakes. The only thing that ATC did not do very well is the fact that it did not really read the aircraft altitude correctly. So it kept telling me to descend it to 5,000 when I was actually exactly at 5,000, or told me to you know, climb to 5,000 when I was actually at 5,000. So there was just some discrepancy with the altitude, but other than that, I think it's pretty spot on. All right, let's go ahead and do the replay. So we're done here. We're done with this one here. So let's go ahead and do a replay. We're going to go to flight. We're going to toggle the replay mode. And let's see, I think that's a good spot there. All right, there we go. So that is us right there. Oh, guys, just look at that. X-Plane 12, ladies and gentlemen. And a Ryanair replay here at Dublin Airport. And yeah, let's take a look at that. I think we've done fairly well considering the weather. Here you can see the, you know, the weather is acting up there. And we're going to do it from another angle. Just there. Wow, what a beautiful touchdown. Absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. All right, let's do that one more time here. Let's go to flight, toggle the replay. Where is it? Flight, toggle replay. So I need to map some buttons there. So we're going to bring it right here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit on the C button. And that will give us a free camera. And what that allows us to do is to move freely. So if you hit shift and period, it makes it a little faster. So let's do that. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to set up the camera somewhere right over here. Okay. Let's do that. Perfect. All right, let's hit play. Now we can see the aircraft coming right there. That was strange. Look at that, guys. Look at that cross. Oh, God, that's really nice. Really, really nice. I'm not sure what happened there, but it seems like the aircraft jumped in the replay from that position to this position. See that? But nonetheless, look at that crosswind landing. That does look like the real thing, folks. Beautiful. Just absolutely beautiful. We gotta do this one more time. Look at that. You have got to love that. Absolutely gorgeous. All right, we can do, by the way, let's do a wing view for you guys. Yeah. What do you guys think? I thought that was incredibly lovely to watch. And that wing flex, the sounds, everything is immaculate. That's reverse thrust. Lovely. Just absolutely lovely. I love X-Plane. Alright. Again, very nice runway textures. Overall, I think the sim is, it looks very, very good. And yeah, I mean, for a default airport, it looks pretty good. And it kind of looks like Dublin. I mean, that's the correct structure, at least. I mean, yeah, the buildings aren't high fidelity, but that's what you see in Dublin. Buildings look nothing like it, but the same layout, if you will, of Dublin Airport. So overall, folks, I think the ATC, the built-in ATC in X-Plane 12 has definitely been improved. And overall, I think it's done a very good job from clearance to from clearance delivery all the way to clearance to the gate at our destination. I think it has done no other planes taxiing. No, I don't have any AI traffic yet, Yusuf, so I haven't really added anything there. But generally speaking, I think as an overview of the ATC in X-Plane 12, I think it actually is a very good ATC. It's not high fidelity by any means. It has some glitches in reading the altitude, I guess, but I think it did what, you know, the basics of ATC are definitely there. So you get cleared. You get cleared to your altitude. You're given a squawk code. You are cleared for taxi. You are cleared for takeoff. You are handed over to towers. You are instructed to descend and climb depending on ATC instructions. Where I think it fails a little short is it does not really respect the altitude restrictions, and that to me is a big thing. We should not have been cleared for 5,000 feet when we were about 80 nautical miles from top of descent. I did abide the instructions given to us by ATC just to see how it works, and it works fairly well, but it doesn't come without shortcomings. And I seriously do hope that Laminar would pay attention, because I think they have the foundation for something very good and something that they can build on. So I definitely I sure do hope that they would work on this in the future and do not neglect ATC. All right. So one of you guys was asking me if we can do VFR, and before we conclude this flight, I just want to show you that you can request a departure. I've shown it in the very beginning of the stream that you can actually one of the options before you file a plan is that you can request a VFR departure, and that's something you can do in X-Plane 12, provided that you have not filed for a plan. So if you just bring up the here, this is of course we are done here. There's nothing more that we can do. Because we already have the flight plan. Some fields need your attention. Yeah, it looks like the flight is concluded now. But you can, when you don't have a flight plan enabled or filed, you can definitely request a VFR departure, and maybe we'll do this in other streams moving forward as we start testing our GA aircraft. Then we'll do clearance with tower for VFR departure. Well, folks, this pretty much brings us to the conclusion of the stream. This is what I expect, so I'm happy. Yeah, I think it works pretty well overall, and it's not top notch. It's not the fidelity that I would like to have, but I think it's a good start, and definitely for X-Plane to build on. Well, folks, again, what I'd like to say before we close the stream today is that the guys at Laminar Research have, without a doubt, delivered on what they promised X-Plane 12 would deliver. In my view, this is a major improvement over X-Plane 11. The ground handling, by the way, in this version of X-Plane 12 is very realistic. The flight model it feels just, the flying the aircraft in X-Plane feels a lot more realistic than Microsoft Flight Simulator. And this is not a comparison between the two. I enjoy both sims for different reasons. They both have their strong points. One in X-Plane being the flight model, and I actually think that their default airports are a lot better than the default airports in MSFS. But of course, we have the beautiful scenery in MSFS, which is, of course, nothing I think comes close to it. But in a nutshell, folks, my request to the flight sim community is to be respectful to the developers. There is no need for you to bash anyone or bash any sim simply because you prefer the other, and because they are both great simulators in their own right. And what my request for everyone is to be respectful and to be mindful of their comments on forums. I cannot tell you how much the developers would actually feel devastated when they hear derogatory comments or comments that bash one sim or the other, and how motivated they feel when they're actually when they hear something good about what they've done. Now, you don't have to necessarily say this is good or bad, if you don't feel that this is the case, but just be very mindful of what you say, because there are human beings there that have worked very, very hard to develop the sim. And by the way, I'm not talking about the business. I don't care really about the business and how well the business does, but I do care about the people. I do care about the guys in Laminar Research. I do care about the guys at Asobo who work very hard at their jobs to deliver the simulators to us to enjoy. Well, enough said there. I hope I get the point across to all of you guys. And I have really enjoyed this flight, although it was a bit glitchy towards the end with all the altitude. Nevertheless, I hope that it was a good, insightful, and informative overview of the built-in ATC in X-Plane 12. Ladies and gentlemen, until next time, please do take care of yourselves and each other, and I will see you all very soon. Stay safe, and bye-bye for now.